All right, looks like we're live. I like the dialogue. Hey guys, my agent over here on screen has something it wants me to say. So what I pretty much had it do on the back end is just set up all my OBS for me, and I just sat and waited while I configured everything. But to get this live going, I'm going to read this real quick. This is a live build session. I'm Derek, this guy. I'm a Navy vet, stay-at-home dad, running a handful of ventures on a few hours a week. My AI agent is sitting next to me in the terminal, right there, off screen. And for the next 30 minutes or so, we're going to design the content system that's going to run this channel. We're going to do it live, messy, unedited, so let's go. So one thing I've been trying to work through for the audience is I don't have a lot of time. And so managing a lot of different operations can get a little hectic and crazy. Trying to figure out posts and write the content and things like that. And so I'm trying to develop back-end systems and processes, use automation code to simplify my workload. So that's what we're working on. So while I have that, what I essentially set up is a way to verbally interface with an AI agent. I've been working on this AI agent systems for about a month and a half now. And so what you're going to see on screen right now you should be able to see my screen. I'm going to go to share screen soon. AI agent, they can't see our chat interface, so can you pull up share screen? Now, the reason I showed you my hands is I could be working with my mouse over here, but instead I wanted to show you what's going on over here. So I'm going to go ahead and close OBS. So I'm going to go ahead and close OBS. Agent over here has me recording to this terminal over here. Okay, so I have my finger on my WhisperFlow hotkey. I'm talking to you guys that might be watching this, and I'm also talking to my agent simultaneously. So I'm going to close OBS, and we're going to figure out what we want to do. Now, agent, I don't want you to close OBS. We're going to keep it. We want to keep the live stream. So what I want us to do is first showcase functionality. Okay, so I have terminal window open. I want you to kind of showcase things. So for the viewer, since they can see my screen, I want you to give us a couple just basic showcase of skills. So I want you to maybe write a software package. I want you to set up a web browser, find like a periodical that I might find interesting that I can comment to. I would like you to showcase your capability of writing reports and all these different things. Okay, so let's first focus on tap into my primary web browser. I use Cloud Atlas. Find me a blog article or a news article that you think I might like. So, as the viewer, what you're going to see right here is I'm going to expand my terminal a little bit. shrink this down. While it's working, we're going to pull up my live stream. Okay, so cool. So on the chat right here, you can see that the gray area is my verbal command, talking to you guys and talking to the agent simultaneously. Okay. The gray area I've highlighted over here. And then once that chat message goes, it gets sent and submitted to Claude Code. Now, Claude Code has a lot of contextual documentations that I've built, software that I've built, context docs, SOPs, agent directives, my standard operating, any referenceable information that's applicable to me. It has the ability to locally read and write this. So this thing has become very, very intelligent on knowing me. And I've also established the ability for it to tap into other software sources. So for instance, it can write to my YouTube channel. It can monitor and write emails for me. It, through the back-end terminals, plugged into my web browser and found me an article. Okay, and so what you see in these lines is the bash is the Python script of tapping into stuff. So it ran through a command called Python 3 volume cgate obs control.py, and it gave a chapter, live demo, and it found stuff. Okay, it did a web search, Agentic AI solo operator automation April 2026, and so it found a nice little blog post for us. Once it found it, it gave me a little quick highlight. It found something. It let me know. It thought through something, and it did a bash command, another computerized command in the terminal. So anytime you do a button click or some kind of UI function on your computer when you're looking at it, all those commands come through the software to tell the operating system on the back end the stuff the digital circuitry does. This is part of that. Okay, so it's running those individual commands without me doing it. Okay, so that's why I showed you my hands. I wasn't controlling anything. The agent was essentially running the code. Okay, so it found an article, it pulled it up on screen for us, and now it's giving me a brief of what it did. So it told me it opened in Atlas. Article should be loading on your screen now. Why this article is perfect for you. It gave me a justification. It pulled context of stuff I'm interested in. Okay. It thinks that this article is interesting to us because if you're still building solo agents, you're behind. So what's exactly what you just demonstrated? Okay. It shows content creator specialist. Okay, it's talking through the other advisors and specialists I've built. Okay, let me read it for you guys. Why this article is perfect for you and for your audience. The article's thesis: if you're still building solo AI agents, you're behind. 2026 is the year of coordinated agent teams that share context across business functions. This is what I was talking about. The last month and a half, I gotten and tapped into Claude Code. Most people think, okay, these Claude coding agents are for developers writing the software, and they don't realize how beneficial it is for the end user to have a specialized digital being that can tap into your computer and write documents, run things, run automated services and things, do digital work for your behalf. Okay, and so the more context docs, the more stuff that you make it applicable to you, this work starts becoming customized. I haven't built a single piece of applications for the public. Everything I've built has just been custom operational stuff, custom tools for me. And so what it's going into here is it's talking about showcasing that I needed help with my content creation strategy. So I used Claude Code to do research, find documents. We downloaded documents, and I used YouTube sources. I used the best performing YouTube specialists on every single kind of niche that I needed or specific skill set I needed for my operation. And I created that specialist. So right now what you're seeing in the chat is my content creator specialist. It has knowledge documents, it has a full knowledge repository, and I will showcase that. And I've also built someone to help me with legal advice, someone to help me with tax planning, marketing, real estate. These are all specialists that I've essentially, like if a person went to school, I created a knowledge repository and a standard operating procedure layer to essentially have a coding agent that's talking to me, have a knowledge repository of this specialist. And so I'll showcase that now. Agent, go ahead and pull up the content creator knowledge repository in my Finder and pull it up on screen for the viewers. And again, it's going to do some work. Okay, so let me expand this out for you. So for the end users, here's essentially a very simple knowledge repository. And so what content creator is based off of is a couple core things. There's two primary layers. The document layer. The two layers of that create this expert is the document layer. So writing. So we're seeing writing foundations, narrative structures, YouTube platform, blog SEO, video production, podcasts, things like that. These are written material. So I can click these. And you can see that I have HTML posts to a lot of different writing fundamentals. Orwell's politics writing, King, what writing is, King on writing experts, Purdue Owl, style, politics, lots of writing in here. Ooh. Narrative structure, you know, I have documents on narrative structure. Very simple. Why do I need this? I don't need to write this, right? But this is in order to give a agent a knowledge repository, you need to give it a kind of schooling platform to work from. And then if I go back, what I have are code scripts. And SOPs. So the SOPs are derived from the practitioners. So the YouTube people that are talking about being the best content creator in X, they give you a lot of tips and tricks how to work from. And so for instance, here's an SOP on platform specific publishing. So open it up, and just a simple SOP about platform-specific publishing. Just a simple text document. I didn't write this. The agent created this, and this kind of created the case for how it thinks. So when it's talking to me in the chat thread, it has all these different operating procedures to give me advice from. So you have a personality layer, and you have a knowledge repository layer, and those two things combined with a LLM that has the ability to code, now you have this intelligence layer that can read all these documents, piece together patterns, and give you very, very intelligent advice based off of all this written material that people have specialized in and published, and all this audio, people of actual practitioners and people that are giving value to the internet through YouTube and stuff, all their knowledge and experience that have been verbalized through tips and tricks published on video. You can see that we pulled it all together. So when I'm talking to an agent, now it has that specific knowledge repository and that skill set, which can be super beneficial. So that's one capability. Here's a bunch of software. So agent, I was just gloating about how the kind of knowledge repository works, what its kind of core fundamentals, what are the multiple layers. So you have like an activation script, a knowledge repository for the backbone of the core brain, and then all the SOPs kind of give it refined knowledge of how to think through all those text materials. Am I correct, or do you have any feedback on how that operates? Even I didn't quite understand it. Okay, so it's giving us a little bit clarity of what I just explained. So we have a couple key layers. Activation. The pointer doc Claude reads first to become the specialist. Okay, so it's just a simple instruction. I say, hey, turn on this, and it goes to that document, it reads it, and then it creates a tree effect of all this knowledge together to activate in a sequence. It's like starting your car. How do you start an engine? How do you do this? There's a procedure of what to activate and in what order to kind of activate the whole system. Okay, and so that's a specific script that this agent reads to kind of turn on all the brain. The raw knowledge repository is the raw primary source material, borrowed canon, durable, rarely updated. So it's just a large repository of knowledge. It could be textbook material, it could be internet source blogs, all these different things, depending on the skill set you want to do it. If you want a science-related specialist, you're going to give it all this sciencey text material, and then you're going to refine it. Okay. The practitioner is the named expert methodology profiles. So when to channel Galloway versus Blake versus Neistat, Casey Neistat, all these different people. I've channeled their skill sets and their interests and what they talk about. I've given a practitioner layer. So for like a content creator, I have Gary Vaynerchuk, I have Think Media, I have Casey Neistat, I have Ali Abdaal, a bunch of different groupings of people. They all talk about different things online. I pulled them all together to source their niche knowledge base and their expertise. And then the SOP directive is the battle-tested operational playbook, hard won from real incidences. So SOPs is a little bit of layers between stuff I've wanted, how the agent to operate, plus the practitioners as well. It's saying that practitioners are timeless. Methodology, Galloway's 1020 title variation before filming is true, whether it's 2024 or 2028. SOPs are situational lessons. It's talking about Hashnode, how to publish on Hashnode or write content for that. That's specific to me. All right, agent, let's talk about this blog post. Now, I don't want to read this. Can you summarize this blog post for me in about a paragraph or two? All right, so it's saying that the summary is, let's see, in 2026, we've moved past the era where one AI agent sits beside you suggesting code. Now it's teams of specific AI agents, planner, architect, implementer, tester, reviewer, working in parallel on complex projects. 95% of developers now use AI coding tools at least weekly. And multi-agent system inquiries have surged 1,445%. Breakout story, Anthropic's Claude Code agent teams assembled 16 agents to write a 100,000-line Rust compiler in 2,000 sessions for roughly $20,000. That's output used to take human teams months. Didn't know that. Second paragraph, the real number. The major platforms shipping this are Claude Code, 46% developer preference, the clear leader, Cursor with Bugbot, Devin 2.0 at $20 a month, Grok build with 8 parallel agents, and GitHub Agent HQ, real business impact. Rutten completed 12.5 million line extraction tasks in 7 hours. TELUS created 13,000 plus custom AI solutions while saving 500,000 engineering hours. Zapier hit 89 AI adoption with 800% internal agents. The takeaway for solo operators, you don't need to hire 10 engineers anymore. You can orchestrate agent teams to build enterprise-grade SIS software that would have been impossible at your scale 2 years ago. My angle is Claude Code is a tool you're using right now. The article cites it as 46% developer preference. This is what I've been using. The solo operator framework is the article is the exact audience you serve. But the article explicitly says this tech unlocks what used to be enterprise only outcomes for people at scale. That's the story you're living on camera right now. So what my take is the agents are getting really, really good. They're really, really capable at writing code. So that is a hyper output for developers by developers, testing the full capabilities of the tool set. Why is that beneficial to us? honestly, I think it makes things a lot easier. If you're a person that struggles with getting technology up and running, knowing that these tools are cheap and easy and really, really capable can be really beneficial, okay? So for instance, setting up this live stream right now, I had the agent on the back end handle a lot of the infrastructure. I've already done a lot of the heavy lifting, but what if your know-how to action gap closed, right? So instead of needing to always need to know how to do things, what if you could just verbalize your problem? What if you could just complain about your problem and close a gap? How beneficial can that be? Right now, as I'm talking, I'm trying to think of something that I don't know how to do, okay? To kind of showcase something that it can help me do along the way, or just handle the task for me. Agent, look at my stuff. Did you hear what I just said about not knowing something? What is something that we haven't talked about before that we can probably test run on screen right now? All right, it's telling me that let's pull every comment across your entire YouTube channel, classify them with AI, and find out what your viewers are actually asking you. So right now it's combed through. You have 76 videos and 8 subs. You've had real engagement across those videos over time. You've never once aggregated what people are saying. The audience will watch this in real time and see the pattern you've been missing. Firing now. So right now it ran a bash command to do a live demo. It pulled up my channel. Okay, honest findings for the audience. 0 comments across all 79 videos. That's actually useful intel, not a failure. It's a real signal. Early stage channels, no comment engagement yet. Pivoting live to pull what is there. Actual watch time analytics per view. So what it's doing right now is just kind of going through my channel, making me look bad on screen. Just straight up told me that I have no comments. I'm pretty sure I have comments somewhere. I think it misread some of it, which can happen. So you gotta be diligent. All right, so it pulled up my views. It's giving me watch time. 0 subs gained in the last 6 months. That's fantastic. Woohoo. Average view per is 4% of the video. So far, my last video, I didn't think my service counted. Had 2 views, but people watched it for 49.8% of the watchable time. So that's kind of cool. So people connected with my being a veteran. Cool. All right. Thanks for pulling that up for me. What I would like to do next is kind of showcase coding live. Let's try and find something useful for the audience. Let's do it on the fly. The only thing I can think of is like, can you do a pre-mock-up for a kind of like a pre-mock-up for a web page for me. I want you to use the color blue and OD green, navy blue and OD green. I would like the theme to feel airy, oceany, and outdoorsy. I would like you to use fonts that are classic. Think like Renaissance, French, kind of classic font designs. You just kind of this website's not going to go live. I just want you to do a mock view of it. So pull up, download any tools you need, write the software, show the software right live. So I want the software to show on screen what you're doing, what you're thinking. Pull your tests. I want to be able to see the test output. So obviously I know we need to purchase the back end part to actually get the website live. Just make a single page, but I want you to utilize JavaScript, CSS, and HTML. Write that code, show what each process is. For the HTML, make it plain. I want you to show it visually for the viewers on screen what happens. Like, how does HTML create the look of the web page? What does CSS do? And show me what JavaScript does, all for the viewer watching, to show what those interconnected layers do. And I'll watch and make a commentary as I'm watching. So to clarify, I need you to pull up any application that allows you to establish a coding environment on my computer. I think I like using VS Code, so we can tap into VS Code if you need to. All right, so I'm going to read this article. A couple things are happening. So I have my blogs, I have my agent. So you can see this two-tier setup that I have, split down the middle. So what oftentimes is, as you can tell, agent takes a while to work. So I'll go work on the side task. So what I typically do is I work through human interfaceable tasks, which is typically web design, UI, and applications. Okay, so the applications I work through while it's working on the side. Okay, so it's going to be building a web page for me, and now I have to kind of monitor it, because you always have to end up with getting these confirmation tasks. It's asking you if it's okay to do something, because it's new technology. You know, they've put a lot of grounds into protecting, making sure that we're okay with the actions it's about to do. So every single time I say yes, it's pretty much telling me, hey, I'm about to do this task. Would you like me to perform it? Okay, so it pulled up cursor. It's writing index.py. Let me go back to... It's doing something on my web pages. Cool. It wrote a basic template here. This is a basic HTML script. I don't know if I can expand on this. Allow. Let me do Control O. All right, so it's not going to show me the script. Okay, so HTML is just a basic template. Okay, here's the CSS. HTML is the basic template. You create tags, you sandwich information, and it renders that information visually. Okay, so everything is, you have a link, you have a bullet point. These will probably become buttons. Here's a basic header, basic. These are all probably subsections of the web page that aren't really formatted. So think of like how Amazon's laid out, or Facebook and stuff, how you have all those kind of those blocks that you see visually. If I pull up this, right? So you have your header section, you have all your blog, your header of the blog. This is your major blog section. You have a comments and a footnote. Okay, this is how it looks stylized. This is how it looks unstylized. Okay, so my header section's probably here. My footer section's probably here, right? Standard texts, but it's cut and dry, old school. All right, so now here's all the styling fonts that came up with for all the tags. So to give you a quick lesson, H is a header tag. So here's all the H, anything at H2, probably this right here, will get stylized in a way. Anything labeled with footer, the footer tag will get stylized in a way. Anything called hidden or revealed will all get stylized. Subtitle, hero section, there's a hero section in here, probably what I built in here. So those are all the stylizations. So let's go ahead, hit yes, implement it. Hit yes, implement it. It's thinking, it'll probably re-render in real time. Let's refresh, see if it does anything. Boom. Stylized. Cool. So all that script we just ran through kind of created a nice cool font styles. I got cool actionable buttons, but if you notice when I hover over things, things aren't really pretty. Oh, there you go. That's cool. Okay, so the CSS is written. What's next? JavaScript. So now it's going through JavaScript. So now I'm kind of curious what it's going to do. JavaScript is the behavior layer. So HTML is the content, what the text is, all the separations. So the what is in the fields, the images, the text, all that. The creating of headers or individual packets. I think of it as like little packet cards, so you can compartmentalize it. The CSS is essentially making all those little compartments stylized, okay? Creating a more visual render. If you remember when we saw it before, before CSS, Derek Bullis was like the top thing, and then all these little buttons here for the add-on were just listed as bullets underneath. Well, the bullets went away. Now they're just kind of clean stylized, right? So the HTML kind of made a little specific wrapping. Think of it like framing. Like it code framed every single little text body piece. And then when we went through, it layered it. It created a line. It created a background color. It created a gradient level. It created all these different things. Now the JavaScript is now going to be that behavior. So if I look through this code, I see it's console logging something. It's getting an element. It's pulling an element off the HTML. We're gonna have. I'm thinking we're gonna have some kind of element for. Okay, here's a smooth control navigation, a reveal button. So we don't really have that yet. I'm guessing that the top header is going to disappear, and then there will be a reveal button to kind of display. And then there'll be a clock, something with a clock. So see what happens. Okay, once I get word that that's done, I'll go ahead and refresh the page. JavaScript is wired, reload Atlas. So what's changed? Not much. All right, now I got links. My little hover button changes. Okay, what happens here? Ooh, let's see. So what was plainly there now gets pulled up. And now we have these animations effects. So let's go refresh. So see how there's nothing there, no there. It was there at the first rendering, and now it's not. Can you just do a quick test cancel of the JavaScript? I want to show the viewers the after, like once you take off the JavaScript, what the page looked like before. Just introduce a temporary bug so the JavaScript isn't connected to it. And then, so I'll reload it once that's done. That way it just showcases the working CSS stylizations, and then we'll showcase what the JavaScript does. All right, JavaScript is disconnected. So you saw that that whole section that brought up those cards is gone, right? It's purposely hidden from the CSS. In the CSS, it's those cards, that information is purposely labeled as hidden in the script. And then once the JavaScript is active, go ahead and reactivate the JavaScript. So JavaScript creates the action. So CSS says, take all that text that was in the HTML. Now we're going to hide it. Okay. So while it's in hidden mode, right, I have to now activate it. And how do you activate the visibility? You click the button and it turns the state from the code of saying hidden to non-hidden. Okay. So once I get reactivate, okay. Same thing, hit the button, now it pulls up the cards. Can you make the button work both ways? So it stays there, so it pulls up the cards and then hides them simultaneously. And so this is what I like to do with coding agents, right? It's Copilot. So anything I don't like, I could just quickly verbalize it real quick and it can make the edits, right? As you can see in real time. So I'm not having to use my hands typing up all this script. It's changing a lot of different code all very, very quickly on the back end. Every single time I give it a feedback, changes the code real quick, writes it, saves it, boom, 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 right? On command verbalizing of software. So this is what this new capability is, this new interfacing, right? Where we went from reading on the internet to command line interfacing on the internet to UI interfacing on the internet. For the last several decades, we've been UI interfacing. This is UI. Everything here you see on screen is your user interface. The human can see it, read it. It's software coming to the display, okay? You know, when this stuff changes, this is where people get like, I don't understand computers. It's like, it's just like, oh, there's so much more you cannot understand. You're just struggle with interfacing with UI is where you struggle with. But now what you're seeing is as I'm talking, I've set up software so I can just quickly hotkey, activate my hotkey, talk away, and I was explaining kind of the interfacing behavior of now being able to interface with a computer verbally at a human to human level instead of having to interface with keyboard and mouse, right? And now having an agent that can intelligently interface the computer on your behalf, how drastically your operations with the computer happen, right? For instance, we're having a lot of back and forth discussion. I'm talking to an agent. I'm talking to my audience. I'm reflecting on the code that was just written. I'm giving verbal feedback, and my hands are literally free the entire time, making all these adjustments in real time. So that's kind of cool. What are your thoughts on that, agent? Bring up, hide. Okay, so that's a test website. So this is just the internet while it's thinking. This is just the internet, right? This is just one way in many hundreds of ways you can interface. Like I said, with this methodology, you essentially have a way to plug in to your computer and your computer's full capabilities. Okay. Now, if you need to do things on the internet, you may need to set up what is called an API. And so what you saw on terminal, if it's stored locally, the terminal can essentially run it, right? Any software package that is active on this computer downloaded, the terminal can essentially, through the agent tools, interface with it. So you saw how it opened up VS Code or Cursor, wrote the software, organized the files, wrote the scripts, interfaced it, and then brought up the test environment for us to view, right? This web page is not live. Okay, this is a test environment through Cursor. If I go to Cursor now, you should just see the code. Here's the JavaScript. Here's the CSS scripts that the agent wrote. Here's the HTML, and where it stored it, I don't know. Somewhere in the file directory, it made a live tech demo folder. It's in my documents. It made a live tech demo. So it, without even asking, created a file directory on my computer on my behalf. Right now, you didn't see me interface with it. The agent opened up this tool. It opened up this tool. So agent, I'm showcasing a lot of capabilities. You showed adept ability to operate and leverage local apps on this computer. What's something we can do to showcase your capabilities for web related stuff? I'm trying to think of something. Let's do Google. I want you to give me a I want you to research today's news, okay? Just pick 5 random articles related on whatever. I want you to pick a specific one singular topic. Again, interested to the audience. We've been talking about coding agents. Let's focus on code agents and code agent capabilities. Find 5 news articles. I want you to summarize it, and I want you to format a Google Doc in the style as if I was a journalist for a news periodical. Okay, so I want you to open up a new tab on Cloud Atlas, pull up Google Docs, write a new Google Doc, structure it, format it for me, and pull that up on screen for the viewers to see. And again, you are operating in the lens of being a journalist, summarizing what the news is. So we're going to have kind of like write an op-ed piece in my voice, okay? And then have it structured in the Google Doc like it's ready to publish op-ed. So again, multimodal connectivity. So right out of the box, Claude isn't able to tap into a lot of your personal profiles, right? So I've already pre-done that. So while it's thinking, I'm going to talk about it verbally. What you want to do, if you are interested in having a coding agent tap into, let's say, your social media, your email, or something like that, what I want you to do is do this. What you want to look is for is what is called an API. What is an API? Okay. So an API is an application program interface. It is a way for code to tap into other people's data centers, not data centers, databases. Okay. So Google is a business database. Your Facebook profile is a database of someone else owns. Okay. So if you want to capture information or request information, whether it's your profile or other people's profile, you need to have a API key and a profile to set up to run your own personal scripts to tap into that. Okay. Google is no different. To tap into Google, I needed to set up an API system to do that. Okay. So I didn't really showcase that, but I'm going to show it real quick on screen. Get me to the developer portal for Google. Don't log in. Just get me to the main homepage. So if you're interested in doing setups for API, you want to essentially pretend to be a developer. Okay, you want to go to the website of your choosing, right? Ask the LLM, ask the search engine, figure out if the thing that you want to agentically tap into has an API, okay, system, right? And so you want to log in. And so you go to the home page. Here's all the things. Here's news. If you're building, here's all the things that Google allows you. This is all free, most of it. Some of the AI features, I believe, are paid, right? To tap into it, you have to pay to resource them. But it's small. They'll talk about billing on the site. But if you don't want to pay, there's free resources always. A lot of companies give free APIs to people. You know, if you need to do market data, if you need to do database research, if you're a scientist, there's different databases of information that you can ask that people give free, openly free access. You just have to set up a profile, request a key, and migrate that key into your ecosystem. So here's things, if you're a developer for Google, here's things you can tap into: LinkedIn, Instagram, Bluesky, all these different things. All it requests is you just set up a profile. So here's the primary page. It logged me in. I wasn't supposed to, but it logged me in. So here's all the products for APIs for developers that you can tap into. And if you needed to learn developer program, here's more about the developer program for Google. Here's the information page. So this is for people that have coding experience, but I recommend normal users tap into these resources, because if you have a coding agent, now you can tap into these sources of information that you wanted to. Okay, so that's a little bit. I already did that, so I'm not going to showcase that. I might showcase doing that later down the road. But here is the op-ed piece that Agent wrote. It found some articles. It found resources on Anthropic, windbuzzer.com, the News Stack, helpersecurity.com, programminghelper.com, aitools.com. So it did a bunch of research and compiled it. And here's the op-ed that it came up with. The coding agents aren't coming for your job. They're coming for your team. Derek Bullis, Lemoore, California, April 14th. A month ago, I sat down in front of a Mac Mini with a Samsung microphone and an AI agent in a terminal. I'm a Navy veteran. I'm a stay-at-home dad, full-time student, and on paper, the operator of a small portfolio of ventures that collectively demand more hours in a week than was actually contained. I'm not an engineer. I learned Python 3 months ago. Actually, I learned Python. That's wrong. That fact is wrong. For viewers, be careful on the context. Be diligent on your context. Sometimes it messes it up. I learned Python, I think, like a year and a half ago. So it says, I learned Python. This morning, an agent wrote 281 lines of website code for me while I was talking on camera. It read the news, opened my browser, found an article I thought I'd like, and explained why. It pulled the analytics for my YouTube channel. It drafted a LinkedIn post. It checked my Hashnode publications. Did a lot of different things on my behalf without me needing to touch my mouse. I mention this is not a flex, but because the story the industry is telling us about agentic AIs has the emphasis in the wrong place. The coverage of Anthropic Claude managed agents launched in public beta on April 8th. Treats the product like it's about the enterprise. The release costs roughly blah 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 blah. What Anthropic actively said. All right. I've derailed reading this. The coding agents are not a threat to developers. They are invitation for everyone who wasn't one. That's a perfect summary. I like that last line. It is an invitation to everyone that wasn't one. You don't need to be a specialist in the code. A lot of the code that the agent just wrote on my behalf, I can hardly read. I understand the loose fundamentals of it. I understand more of the working operations of it. It's kind of like, think of it like a driver. I'm not a mechanic, but I understand about good 50% of the core functions of the mechanical operations of what the car does, right? The brakes, the hydraulics, the back end, how the wiring harness functions, how the battery distributes power, the distribution system of the electrical powers, how the engine gets power to burning fuel and stuff like that. I understand that from a rough overhead. I don't know all the nitty gritty of how it's actually designed or the part specifics, but I have a rough idea. So that's kind of the same thing I have with coding. I've learned enough to be dangerous to kind of create these new capabilities. But for the most part, I just interface with an AI agent to complain about things, to get things done, right? And it can create all these workflows, create them once, test it, get it up and running messy, and then we can refine it over time if we don't like it, right? And so once I've allowed it to be able to tap into my email, tap into my social media posts on my behalf, write on my behalf, manage my folder directories on my behalf, source and capture media on my behalf, bring things out, it's drastically helped my mental bandwidth on me not having to spend so much time doing that, because if I did, that would never get done, all the things that needed to get done. So the agent has now kind of alleviated some of the workload. And so that's what the key benefit is it's amplifying your workload, amplifying your capability. If you didn't like how a software piece worked, now you can customize it and make it operational for yourself, okay? This little icon here, this is called Xcode. Xcode is your ability to upload and write software if you're a Mac user, right, a lot of people have application designs in their head. If you download Xcode, you have an agent. Now you can start verbalizing, creating your own applications on the fly for your own personal use. You could download it to your phone. You could set up a test environment. I can spin up an application to work on this computer, right? I typically mostly run applications that I already trust and work with that have already been tested in the market, but you could spin up your own stuff on the fly. So it's not going after developer jobs. It's giving you the invitation to be able to operate like a developer if you needed to or wanted to. So that's cool. Agent, you got any closing thoughts on this live stream? I think we've done quite a bit. What are your thoughts? You can pull it up on Google Drive for me so the viewers can see. Not Google Drive. This op-ed that I drastically botched reading, you can put out a closing statement at the very end if you wanted to. Put your closing statement in big, bold scripts on the bottom of the page so the viewers can read your last final thoughts. Final thought. The gap between an idea and a working thing used to be measured in engineering salaries. This afternoon, it was measured in a conversation. $58 a month, one kitchen table, 0 permission required. Build the thing. I like it. Very good work. Thank you, Agent. So last little tidbits for the thing. I want you to do a couple things. I think that was good. I think that was fun. I had a lot of fun with that. We're going to close out the live stream. So go ahead and close it out. I'm going to go hands-free and go ahead and get it done. So this is Derek signing off. I'll see you guys later. Bye. Let's see how long it takes to do this. Now, I could have just hit the button, but I'll just keep on going.